All right, joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, our weekly chat with Mack McCarthy. Coach Mack, how you doing today, sir?
I'm good. Long weekend, busy weekend, and short week coming up, but jump right into the frying pan on Pirate Radio Live.
Yes, sir. And honestly, didn't know where we'd start today, and this time last week, but it's all things ECU baseball right now. The Pirates get it done down in Clearwater, and have a new lease on life here when it comes to the postseason. East Carolina will be in Conway, South Carolina for the Conway Regional. Coastal, Fairfield, the Florida Gators, and East Carolina. Coach Mack, do you see any of the Pirates and their championship run over the weekend?
A little bit, but very pleasant surprise and a nice surprise too. But yeah, great for the Pirates. Hung in there all year, and Coach Godwin talked all year about them being young, and it was going to take them a while, and I'm sure it took longer than even he expected. But gosh, all's well that ends well. Pirates back in the tournament where they belong, and a great location for the Pirates to travel to. Um, and I think everybody down there is going to be excited. Obviously Coastal gets to host, and they've won the whole thing before. Florida is excited; they think they're the favorite, even though they're going on the road. And East Carolina happy to be there, but playing really good baseball. So hey, who knows? All the times where it felt like the Pirates were, in a really good situation and lined up to get to Omaha, haven't been able to make it. But hey, maybe this is the time where nobody thought they were a threat to go, and maybe they get off to a good start and get some momentum, or keep the momentum going and make a run. Who knows?
Be Florida and East Carolina coming up Friday at noon. Pirates trying to get to that winners bracket game on Saturday evening. Mac, I don't know how much you get into the college baseball postseason. I'm very happy East Carolina's in it for another reason, and that's because I can watch squeeze play. If the Pirates weren't in it, I would have zero interest in the college baseball tournament. But man, I love squeeze play. They're going from game to game. They're bouncing around, triple box, quad box. Have you watched any of that in the past? And if not, you better watch it this year. It's really fun.
Yeah, I have watched a little bit of it, and any of those things that bounced from game to game. I love the radio deal in the fall with college football, and I'm not the red zone thing for the NFL kind of bugs me, but I know some people who watch it religiously, and usually they're the gambling types, if you will.
Oh,
But yeah,
oops.
the bouncing around, makes it a lot of fun, and I am interested. I had a lot of teams in there. Of course, the SEC dominated again, which a little bit weary of that. We've talked about that in the past, but I've got a very good friend who's the radio announcer for Vanderbilt, and they're the overall number one seed. 2 weeks ago, I don't even know that they knew that they would be able to host the first couple regions, but the region and the super regional, if they should make it that far, and all of a sudden they're the number one seed, which kind of tells you what kind of balance is out there. And the overused word parity jumps back into play, but really it does sound like a whole lot of different people think they're going to make it, or think they got a chance to make it to Omaha.
Mac McCarthy joining us. Jarrett's not a huge fantasy guy, but we need to get Mac. We need to buy. We'll pay Mac's way into a fantasy football league just to
Oh,
hear him complain about it and be and moan about it during the season.
you
I'm
talking about
wondering.
NFL?
Yeah,
NFL?
yeah.
I'm wondering who would
Yeah.
complain more, me or him.
But that's the main reason I like Red Zone Mac because of the fantasy aspect of it.
The red zone, the college football when kind of, especially the radio when it goes at a pace that I appreciate and understand and enjoy, but the red zone thing goes, bouncing around, and maybe I'm just not familiar enough with the teams and the stadiums and everything else to really keep up with it. But yeah, I need to do a fantasy team or pick a team to
Uh,
kind of live and die with just one team that I can pay attention to. I don't know. I don't know what that would be or what that would look like, but I need to do one or the other, I think.
Well, who's the best Hokie in the NFL right now? Do you have a Hokie you could follow?
Oh gosh,
I don't even know
there
who it would
there
be.
there are actually quite a few, but I don't know if any of them are doing great.
Yeah.
Van Chancellor was the last one that I'm not Van Chancellor, but the Seattle safety was the last one that was really like an all pro all the time. But they've got some. They've got a couple offensive linemen that they're doing well, different places and that
That
kind of
little
thing. But
receiver we got, maybe he could be a Commanders guy.
he's pretty good. Jalen Lane, yeah,
Yeah.
he is he's exciting, and I think he might contribute in the kick return game too. He's pretty darn good there. But yeah, I could maybe be a Commanders guy, but that would be you and me griping about the same thing all the time.
Yeah, that wouldn't be any fun. Mac McCarthy joining us. Mac, just curious, when you were coaching here, of course, it was a different Godwin, Billy Godwin, as the
Right?
skipper. Great guy. How much, like, talking relationships, because you're a very personable guy, but during your coaching days, were you friends with Billy Godwin or Skip Holtz, or was it Sharon Baldwin Tenner at the time for basketball? Like,
Yeah.
did you communicate at all with the other coaches on campus?
Oh, a lot. Yeah. Sharon and I talked a ton. Some of it because we had to with the facility situation. But we got to go still stay in touch, and Skip's the same way. Skip would show up in my office after a tough loss, and he'd have pockets full of stuff from chocolate to beer to little airplane bottles to whatever. He said I'm not leaving till we're both laughing. So yeah, they were all good. Ruff was good, and yeah, and I even Billy I knew pretty good, and I was even there with Cliff a little bit. I dealt with him his
Okay.
first couple of years when I was doing things like housing and dealer cars and things like that. So yeah, I've always thought that was a must. Not that I wouldn't have done it otherwise, but I even shared an office with the baseball coach at East Tennessee when I first got my very first full time job, and of course he liked me a lot because we brought him two pitchers that were also basketball players. One of whom ended up being a Major League Baseball All Star. So
Who's that? Do you know the
he liked
name?
me a lot. Atlee Hammaker pitched for the San Francisco 49ers when he was an all-star, and he also pitched for Chicago, I think, a little bit. He had a bad moment in the all-star game, which was very memorable. He was the first left-hander to give up a left-handed grand slam in the all-star game. Fred Lynn hit one off of him, and I think maybe he had two or three all-star appearances, but he was a really good basketball player too. But he played 1 year, and then went into one of the summer leagues. I want to say he went to the Midnight Sun League in Alaska, and didn't allow a run in the entire summer. And when he came back, he said, "Coach, I think I need to concentrate on baseball," and he made a really good decision.
Mac McCarthy joining us. By the way, you're right. You don't know the NFL teams. You said that guy pitched for the San Francisco 49ers. We know you meant Giants, but it was kind of
Oh
funny.
my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm still if you got me thinking football now, and I don't think I could go for the 49ers. Although T.O. was out there at 49ers, I did pull for him a little bit.
Somebody mentioned him last night. I think, oh, it was our buddy Joe said, I think Cornell Powell, somebody, T.O. took Cornell and another guy out to dinner after the UFL games this weekend, maybe in Texas or something. So good to hear. T.O. connecting with a J.H. Rose and Clemson Tiger product, Cornell
Nice.
Powell. Yeah.
Very nice.
Um, Coach Mack, you got me thinking baseball basketball combo. I was lucky enough as a student at East Carolina to be able to call some games on WZMB, the student station. I did a baseball
Huh.
game, ECU versus NC State, and the starting pitcher was Andrew Brackman, who played on the basketball. That was around your time. Do you remember that name at all from State?
No,
He
no, I
was
don't.
a big man, so he was really big on the pitcher's mound. But I think he went to the Yankees organization. He went the baseball route instead of basketball. But anyway,
Yeah, a lot of those combo guys, of course, one that started on the national championship team for NC State and then pitched for a number of years for the Orioles. Stoddard was a power forward, 6'8", and a really good pitcher for the Orioles.
Mack McCarthy dropping knowledge today on Pirate Radio Live. You want to talk a little racing? I was going to ask, and Jared, I'm going to let you make the statement you made right before we got Mac on. Did you enjoy the race this weekend?
I absolutely did enjoy it, and maybe it's just because I'm used to these terrible Fox broadcasts, but I thought that was some of the best racing coverage I've seen in a while. You didn't like it, Mac?
Oh, what a sigh by Mac.
Oh my gosh, they just screamed randomly. If they hadn't done that, I would agree with you. But I mean, they're talking about the race going on, and something happens that is really, not even a factor. And even Letarte got caught up in it. I think they were just trying too hard. But I like Adam Alexander. I thought the pit road pre-race, post-race, thought all that went pretty well. But if it wasn't for the random screaming, I would agree with you. But I just don't get the random screaming, especially if some guy running 43rd, loses it on the backstretch. I just don't get that.
As a novice, I like Dale Jr. because I like any announcer that it feels like to me he's into it.
Yeah.
Like Romo, like he's got annoying at this point, but I think he's really excited to be there calling a game and watching the great action on the field. And I feel like Dale Jr. does that, but I will say he doesn't have the best voice for TV, and he's got a squeaky, kind of whiny tone to him.
He needs to get familiar with who's who, because there was one moment where he's like, "Oh, the 5 spun out. No, it was the 55. No, it was the 60." It took like 8 guesses to figure out who spun out.
He did. He went from the 5 to the 51 to somebody. It was not good at all. And he, bless his heart, he hadn't gotten any better. But he is a celebrity, and he does bring some enthusiasm. But he was all over the place. They had a couple of those, Jared. They had a couple of those moments where they were a little bit confused, and they would have people that were contenders that dropped to the back, and they wouldn't explain why. They wouldn't bring it up, and if you didn't really understand the race and you were following it closely, you wouldn't have known what was going on with some of those folks. But all in all, camera work was good, and the race was pretty good. Hate Chastain, hate that he won, but I will say the racing was pretty good. Other than how many passes for the lead were there in the race, Jared? There weren't 5. I doubt there may not have been but 1 or 2.
I mean, Byron and Denny were fighting for a little bit there, but it really just seemed like at the end was the big pass.
I was watching at the end of stage 3, and I know there was a lot of hooting and hollering and screaming going on, and but the action was pretty good. They went 3 wide at one point, I think, late in that stage. So,
and that's another thing. You can't scream every time they go 3 or 4 wide, and all of them do that.
Well, especially in that race, right? The longest race of the year.
Yeah, there's plenty of room to there's plenty of time for comers and goers in that race, but yeah, and it was entertaining, and but as a broadcast, I just can't deal with this random screaming for no reason.
Maybe I liked it because that's how I watch a race. Like we'll be 6 laps in, and it's like, we're 3 wide.
Well, thanks a lot, Mac. Jared rarely likes anything, and he finally enjoys something, and you just crap on it. He'll never like anything again.
My point wasn't even towards like the booth. It's just I'm sick and tired of Fox just like cutting to a commercial with 5 laps to go.
Yeah. They did leave it on for the most part. They didn't really just leave, and they went side by side a lot. And of course, they had so many boxes up there at one time. I felt like I was back on YouTube TV, but somebody had hit the wrong switch, and they were overlapping each other.
I don't like this for like the NASCAR fan out there. What do you think about? I mean, I don't know how much money Amazon paid NASCAR, so I'm sure it worked out well for them. But like, is the average NASCAR fan gonna know where to watch these races?
Well,
maybe at this point,
it helps that Junior is involved, and I don't know. I mean, there's a pretty small percentage of people that don't stream at all anymore.
Very low percentage.
10 years ago, I'd say this would have been a real problem, but I got to think it'll be interesting to see what the ratings are. I got to think they're going to be pretty good.
I got my parents a Roku a year or two ago, and they
Yes,
know their way around a Roku pretty good now.
Yeah,
good. That's cool.
these people are gonna know where to find it, but like my dad has no internet access, so he cannot watch any of the race for the next couple weeks.
Yeah. Well,
You got to do better, son. You got to do better.
I mean,
I
You
bet
got to
if you
help out.
offered, if you were like, Dad, I'm gonna get you some internet, he'd probably, what would he say? Nah, man, I'm
he'd be
good.
like, "Hell yeah, it's free."
Oh, he would.
Yeah,
That'd be a great Father's Day gift.
yeah, but then I got to pay another internet bill.
Well, all right, fine.
Come on, man.
Maybe you'll win this NASCAR pool and can afford it. Any update in the standings at all?
Yeah, you extended the lead. You had the best average. I had the winner with Chastain, but a DNF from Kyle Larson. So you're up 21. I got 16, and Mack to -3 with Blaney. No, with a DNF.
Yes. Yeah, that was really nice. Blaney wasn't even competitive. Penske had a little hangover from firing all their Indy people, and it affected their NASCAR people. I wasn't happy about that.
Mac, did you get a chance? Check out our interview with Dustin Lineback from last week. East Carolina linebacker, now the Jackman with Keselowski, and we had a pretty good NASCAR conversation. Go check that out on YouTube.
I'll do it.
Yeah, he's doing a great job there in NASCAR. So I was talking to Phoenix Evans, an offensive lineman, told him former O lineman for ECU, said we're going to have a former football player on that's in NASCAR now, and he was like, "Yeah, I knew a couple guys in the '90s that did that." He said, "I got talked to by football scouts and pro wrestling scouts." So, like, are there other opportunities for basketball players outside of basketball? Like at Pro Day for football now, NASCAR folks come out. And
Yeah.
is there any NASCAR basketball crossover there, Matt?
I don't think so. I
Yeah.
mean, there might be a little bit of NASCAR, but I was listening to one of the podcasts, and I'm not sure who it was, but I think Hendrick this last weekend had 50 some college athletes, all different sports, trying out
Wow.
for the pit crew not competition, but pit crew opportunities from a job perspective.
Man. They probably went from like really seeking out good athletes to maybe now being overrun with applications. I feel like it's
Oh, I would think.
very popular now.
Yeah, I would think, and I can see some of those things getting together. Maybe manufacturers getting together and doing like a combine kind of thing.
Right.
But yeah, 50 people trying out, and there can't be that many open jobs.
Right.
They don't run much of a truck or Xfinity program, so they don't have but so many options out there, and that, having that many people, that was kind of an eye-opening figure to me.
Jared, anything sports related before we wrap it up with Mac? Where are we this weekend?
Oh God, where are we for NASCAR?
Mac?
I can tell you
I
real
would
quick.
like for you to.
I can tell you we're at Nashville.
All
Oh
right.
yeah, Nashville.
Nashville.
Another night
Yeah, and then
race.
of course, we got the NBA going on still. We're down to this Final Four. We talked about that a little bit last week, and Nick's trying to hang on, and I don't know who's winning out west, but
OKC up three
again,
one.
I watched a
three
little bit of that.
yikes.
Might have been the first time I've watched SGA play. He was good down the stretch.
Very good.
He-
I don't get the foul merchant thing because like
I didn't see it.
he'll have
but,
35 points with like 10 free throw attempts.
yeah.
It's like that's a normal stat line.
Mac, have you watched Sirens on Netflix?
I have.
Okay,
Very
all
good.
right. I was gonna
Very
say
good.
that should be up you and your wife's alley. My wife and I watched it. It was good.
Yeah.
I like Kevin
We
Bacon. I'm a Bacon
we
guy.
that was really good. We binge watched one that was a couple years old, maybe called Treason, which was outstanding. I had seen it before, but my wife had not. But but yeah, there's some good stuff out there and some good stuff coming. And of course, the Earnhardt documentary had the first two out there. If you haven't seen those, they are really, really good. Had some. I thought I had probably seen everything that Dale Earnhardt had ever said on television of any kind, and but there was some new footage in there, and the whole family dynamic, and the his friendship with Bonnet, and that whole thing went in there, and I can't wait for the next two to come out Thursday night.
All right, good deal. Check that out. Mac, thanks for joining us, man. Have a good week, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Go Pirates!